Hello everybody, how are you going? Welcome to another World Friends video. This one being match the accent to the person, where it seems like they have 4 English speakers from different countries and they're going to have to match them or find them or I don't even know what, but it's interesting to see how different ears pick up on different things.
Hello, today I'm going to guess people's nationalities by their accents. Yeah, I can tell American and English accents. Australian accents, I can also tell because I used to live in Australia for a while, but Canadian, I'm not sure honestly. So American, you can tell by the R. And then the English, they sound very posh, they sound very elegant for me. And Australian, it's the how you say the stuff like the nor and stuff. You have the R sound after the O. And Canadian. Honestly, I can't really tell Canadians.
Oh, especially if you're going to be comparing Canadians to the USA and you're not properly in tune with what you're trying to be picking out for. I mean, she similarly has plenty of experience or enough experience to know what to look for. So it'll be interesting to see if she can even actually look for it or she can actually find it. And I feel like especially just having a bit of context for the Australian accent to not go, okay, it's British or it's Canadian or it's anything like that. If you've actually lived in Australia, I would think that you would have a better understanding of what's truly going on. I mean, she said that she did, but how are these 4 people going to really compare? Because that's what it's going to come down to. If you're the Canadian, just throws everyone off. That'll be very different, especially like in the UK, there's a million accents in a very confined area, and so who knows which one you're going to be getting.
Hi.
Here we go.
Hi.
Find British, okay.
I'm Brit. I'm 21.
What's your favorite food?
Honestly, like Mexican.
Is it like cold where you live, where you come from?
Pretty cold, yeah.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Right.
Can you try saying, can I have a bottle of water?
Can I have a bottle of water?
Ooh.
So can you like tell me a little bit about where you come from, like the place you came from?
So there's a lot of like surrounded by water, like a big body of water. And in the winter it's a lot of snow and really cold and a lot of rain. The summers are really hot though.
So I can tell you're not British or Australian.
Interesting.
I would say that you have a lot of like snow where you come from. Kind of makes me think of Canada.
Interesting. Okay. Who else are we going to be having? Oh, stepping up straight.
I'm Jasmine. Nice to meet you.
Hi.
Wait, what was that?
I'm Jasmine.
Oh, they're so quiet, and I wish that audio was just absolutely boosted. But coming back to these 4 right here, I mean, we do have a leg up because I know that the lady in the white on the right, not the in the seat on the right, is Canadian. We've seen her in other videos, but the other 3 I don't actually know, and so I don't know if they're from, I mean, if you knew what the 4 were, then you could more easily pick it. But if it's like, oh, you're from Scotland, or you're from Ireland, or you're from Wales, or you're from England, if you're picking between those, that's going to be a little bit more difficult for people to pick out, let alone then the USA, Canada, South Africa, Australia, even New Zealand, they're all in there, and that's going to be difficult if you have no context to what's what. And I mean, listening to her talk again, I just don't hear, or I certainly hope that I'm not missing it, but I don't hear any Australian in that, even disregarding what she's saying and what she's talking about in terms of snow and everything like that. I mean, some parts line up in terms of Australia is surrounded by water, but then we don't really have that much snow, but especially not in the winter, a lot of snow. That rules it out, but the accent just doesn't line up. But if then you're surrounded by a lot of water, it just, I don't know, it puts me, are you Ireland? But then it sounds more Americanized. So then I'm going, are you like Iceland or something? And then you have a more Americanized accent. I have no idea so far.
Can you tell me where you're from? Like what describes the place you're from?
It gets really hot there, and then it doesn't get that cold. We get similar summers though, so really similar summers.
Oh, okay.
Straight away,
I can tell by the way you say there.
There.
It's okay. Oh, I'm
What's it
Sweden,
gonna
by the
be?
way.
Nice to meet you. My name's Jasmine.
Jasmine. Is it like spelled with a J though?
No, it's not.
Oh, is it like spelled with a Y?
Y-A-Z-M-I-N-E.
Okay.
That's a pretty name.
What is your guess?
But I don't think I've like ever met a Yasmin before, starting with a Y. So,
Well, it's gotta be
like, is
Canadian.
your ethnicity different from the country you're from?
No.
But the way you said no.
Yeah, there we go. Straight away. No. just boom, you could already tell, or I could certainly tell. And then her just describing the country as well just was icing on the cake, cherry on the cake, and everything else on top of the cake as well. But man, she just sealed her fate, especially if someone has lived in the country. And that was the one thing that she said, oh, I think that that's what I can pick up on, just going, oh, the O sound, so to say. And then you go ahead and say it. She's got your hook, line, and sinker then.
There's no with a R.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know.
Hi, how are you?
I'm okay, I think.
Can I have your name, please?
Yeah, my name is V.
V? Oh, that's a pretty name. Can you tell me, describe about where you come from?
The weather's not that great, but it's kind of it's nice in summer, cold in winter. We have 4 seasons like Korea. So. Korea has 4 seasons. Korea has 4 seasons. I'm like, my country has 4 seasons too.
Interesting.
Other than Korea, I know that all 4 different countries it's bigger than Korea. So there's a lot of different regions with different weathers.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
I think my country does have different weather. It's colder in the north, warmer in the south.
What, every country in the Northern Hemisphere? I mean, that makes sense, and I'm just trying to dissect what she's actually, because the First Lady is throwing me off. So then I'm going, who's what, and what could she be? If what the other lady isn't English, let's say, then what are you? And if you are American, then what are you? Now it's a 50-50 to try and find the British, because that is what this round is truly about. And so I'm going to have to listen to her again, the current lady, because I don't know. It's just the first one. It doesn't make any sense.
I think I can sort of hear the accent. You have seen North.
I'm sorry.
Do you like fish and chips?
I guess.
Do you like maple syrup?
I guess.
I do.
Yeah.
Interesting. Oh, here we go. After asking about maple syrup, it certainly makes me think that she thinks her accent is Canadian, which I guess is me cheating because I do know who is Canadian here, but it wasn't as much Canadian there. I mean, if I didn't know and I didn't have any other reference point, and then at the end you can go, oh, okay, I've heard them all, and you might be able to dissect it a little bit better there. But there was nothing traditionally, stereotypically Canadian about her accent. It definitely sounded more USA to me. And I hope that's correct in the end. I hope that then means the First Lady must have been from the UK. But I heard bits of it from the UK, but there was other bits, and maybe it was just because it was so soft, but they were just completely throwing me off.
Hi. I'm so sorry, but I think I ruled out everyone.
Ruled out everyone?
Okay.
Nice to meet you. My name is Sydney.
Do you know the time difference in English and Korea?
10 hours, around 8 to 10 hours depending.
That was accurate. So what's your favorite food?
I really love avocado.
Avocados.
Fair enough.
Oh, okay. Do you like and then salads or?
Oh yeah, definitely. Salads and then avocado and toast as well. It's also really delicious, as well as salmon.
Salmon,
Wow.
avocados.
Interesting.
I can't really
All the expensive ones.
specify or are you Australian?
I can't tell you.
She can't tell her that, and it's also interesting hearing the Korean lady's accent, Australian accent come out as well. I feel like the more she talks, the more I'm hearing it, just hearing that background, or at least a bit of time where that would have been developed, changed, manipulated, whatever it would have been, depending on how much she had previously and how much she actually learned in Australia, if anything at all. But it certainly sounded like it was coming out there. And I'm always wondering, is that because, especially hearing a name Sydney and hearing all those things, is she expecting this person to be Australian, or is she expecting this person to be British? Because your mind would start playing tricks on you and just fabricating things where if you're going, well, I've assigned this to you and I've assigned this to you and I've assigned this to you. I mean, she definitely thought she got Australian, but if you've pre-assigned things, then you're just going to be maybe even mishearing, going, oh, I thought I heard this, but it was never there.
I can't really specify or are you Australian?
I can't tell you.
I thought she knew that.
I think number 4 was British. I wouldn't be able to tell that she's British if I saw only her, but then I saw the other 3 people and I couldn't tell they're not British. So
Oh, okay, so she didn't actually get to find out, which does make the next rounds even more interesting, but she thinks that Sydney was her name, I believe, is British. Which is interesting because how they've edited the video, it didn't make it really come across that way. I mean, maybe she just went, okay, well, the girl in the blue dress is more Australian, and then the other ones sound more American, so that means you must be British, if that's the path she's going down. But otherwise, It was edited as though she was thinking she was going to call him out to be Australian. Unless we are just missing a whole bundle of questions and interactions, which that was a pretty short segment, so we could. I just want to know how she's actually trying to draw those conclusions. And maybe they'll get there in the end, and maybe she'll try and explain her logic, just going through, picking every single piece that she could out. But it's difficult when you're just having limited conversation. If you're having 2 sentences, I can understand how your mind is just going to be playing tricks on you. Find the American. All right, more words. What are you going to be able to say?
Let's just say you're from America.
Mm-hmm.
What would your favorite food be?
Pizza.
Pizza?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or bagels.
Bagels?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I like bagels too. Do you like Starbucks?
Moving away.
I love Starbucks.
Oh, really?
But not the coffee.
Not the coffee.
The coffee is horrible. I like the refreshers.
Do you
Like the juicy drinks.
Have you tried the pumpkin spice?
I hate pumpkin spice actually.
The lady in the middle there is the one I believe to be from the USA, and she did not seem, I mean, she gave away that she liked bagels, but she just had to bite her tongue when she said, I don't like pumpkin spice. And I wonder if that's a cultural thing. Look at it, she literally basically bit her tongue down, otherwise she was going to say, oh, how dare you, is what it felt like. But it does seem like, I guess, pumpkin pie. How common is pumpkin pie in the UK? It's not a thing in Australia, I know that much for sure.
So, for public transportation, do you use the subway or the underground?
Interesting.
Like in my home country?
Yeah.
Is a car. I drive.
Oh, you can't. But if you had to take the subway.
Yeah.
Subway. That's Americanized. But then that seems like a really unfair question to ask. I mean, I guess that's the whole point of it, but it feels like there's no way to be country neutral and answer that. I mean, you just say the train, but then I'm just wondering how and why that's possible. Because I swear the lady in the middle there is from the USA. From my memory of what she was saying and everything like that, it doesn't make sense, especially because this lady was talking about being surrounded by water and having a lot of snow. So what is she? She has to be... I'm so confused. I mean, surrounded to what degree? Like, I'm thinking 360 degrees is surrounded, but maybe not. Maybe let's say like Scotland's fairly surrounded, Ireland's fairly surrounded, but then technically it doesn't have anywhere near as much coastline as somewhere like Finland, which has the second most coastline in the world, and so is that surrounded? But then it's basically half land covered, and so what is she? It doesn't make any sense. I don't know if I'm being thrown off by the accent or the context or what is throwing me off more.
Hi again.
Hello again.
Hello. I just wanted to ask you before, do you know H2O? Just add water.
H2O, just add water.
Here we go.
Yeah, my cousins and I used to watch that all the time.
Interesting.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
It's really popular though, like America, England, Australia.
Yeah.
Is it? Okay, interesting. That's something I did not know. I expected that to be a very niche question for a reason, and she's trying to particularly go, I want to know if you're Australian and have you watched it, and this is one I know. Hook, line, and sinker, I just want to be getting an answer. But she cleverly worded it saying, oh, it's a worldwide show though. Don't be jumping your horses too quickly. Even though it kind of says everything you needed if you read between the lines going, please don't look for my answer because it'll just give everything away.
Do you have subways in your country?
Of course, yeah, we do.
Yeah, you do?
Not in my city though.
Not that word
Where do you
though.
come from?
A city somewhere in the world.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well
do you know
done.
how long it takes on a flight from the United States to Korea?
I think it's like 10 or 8 hours, depending on if it's way back or way there because of the wind.
Oh, so if you had to like pick your favorite food from the United States, what would it
Hot
be?
dogs.
Hot
At the
dogs?
moment, like I go to Shake Shack and get a hot dog because I just crave hot dogs sometimes.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I do have to commend this lady for at least attempting to throw her off the trail, even though the no might have just been everything she needed from the get-go. At least she's going, oh, well, like I said, it's popular all around the world, and I'm talking about the USA foods and hot dogs and all those kind of things, which I guess if you're unsure, it might be something that sways you, which I guess is what you're playing on. But I wonder, are they meant to be trying to manipulate it like that? Or are they just trying to be answering the questions the best they can? I mean, she's asking questions that are very particular though. So how much can you say without giving it away, but then also not just purposely ruining the entire experience, so to say? But then it has also just clicked for me once again that of course she's going to be trying to ask American questions because she's trying to find the American, even though I feel like you're probably going to have better results asking people questions from their own country and dissecting them that way instead of putting them all in one pool and trying to then dissect it out from there.
I think she has an Australian accent. Hours,
Surely.
like she doesn't go hour, she goes hour, or she says no.
So she sounds Australian.
Hi.
Here we go.
Do you have like a favorite singer?
Oh, yes, but they're Korean.
Oh,
Interesting. Once again, good way to close it off.
No, it's not.
yeah, she says Yi. That's like, I think it's Canadian.
I lived away from my home country for like a long time, so
Oh.
yeah, my accent is.
Is it like fading?
Fair enough.
Are you from like the warm side of the country or rather cold?
Cold.
Oh. She also says cold in like this way I can't do.
What? Wait, what?
Cold in the country or
Cold?
rather cold?
Cold.
Cold. It's kind of quite muted. Cold. I don't know if I'm doing it correctly, but that's how it sounds like to my ear. And it still feel like, I mean, it's muted, but
Is she also the
Is it-
warm side of the country?
is it
or
like a
rather cold?
Bostonized.
Oh.
I don't know. I'm just throwing out a random one, and I don't expect it to be correct. But if she's talking about cold, and what I'm hearing, it sounds like a muted Eastern American accent. Surely, that's my best guess.
So if you had to like describe the United States in one word,
Oh.
what would it be?
Interesting.
Big? Yeah, I think I've
Fair
like
enough.
heard some other people from the United States like describe the country in one word, and I swear so many people said freedom, liberty.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. I guess that's a different mindset about what you're describing, because you're describing the country, not the populace, or not an idea, not what it stands for. If you're using more of those words, that might come to mind. But big is just very objective. It's just is what it is. It is big. And again, if you were trying to play that cool, calm and collected, not giving too much away, then it is a very generic answer where, yes, Australia is big as well, but they've kind of already ruled that one out. And so to be saying that the UK is big, I would hope no one would be saying that. I mean, definitely not Iceland, anywhere in the UK. There's nowhere really in Europe that it would be considered big. Not in the world scale. You've got North America's, they're big, Russia, even China, Brazil, they're all big countries. Australia, no one else is really big.
Hi. So if you are from the United States, what would be your favorite food?
I think I would more or less go for the bagels.
Oh, okay. Are you like trying to speak with a different accent, or is it just me? I thought she was British, and now she's speaking with a different accent.
Interesting.
Are you doing that on purpose?
I don't know.
This is so
unfair.
hard. What's like your image of the United States?
Complex. A very big diversity of people. Yeah, and also a lot of different things to try out and different cultures you can experience.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a little bit more of a, I mean, it's still a very broad answer, but that's basically the opposite of saying big. Like, it was very specifically broad. That doesn't make sense, but somehow it was. And especially then when you compare those two answers between big and that one, big sounds like a descriptor that another country would use of the USA. Not knowing much about it, going, you see it on a map and it looks big. That's all I really know about it. Compared to actually living there, let's say that Sydney was from the USA, then you go, okay, I know a bit more, and I can actually talk upon the nuances of it like that. So when you were expecting this person to sit back down in the chair and you have British in your mind, and then that comes out and you're going, hang on, what's going on here? That would definitely throw you for a loop.
Can you try saying Harry Potter for me?
Oh.
Harry Potter.
Okay, she said Potter. So
Potter.
thank you.
Sure. Instead of
I think it's number one. At first, I couldn't tell like between number one and four because I think she like spoke in this American-ish accent, but then I heard Harry Potter, so.
I love the fact that she said she spoke in this American-ish accent, because to be fair, that's exactly what it is. It did migrate that direction. I mean, I guess by those rules, it's a British-ish accent as well, but it isn't wrong. And so to be saying she said number one, which I don't agree with, I just feel like it has to be number three, and I certainly hope that I'm not wrong, but I'm so lost with number one that honestly, if it was, I'd go, sure, alright, she's all over the world, that lady.
Hi.
Fine Australian,
I'm
surely this is
sort
easy.
of confident about this one because I lived in Australia.
Come on.
Oh yeah, I've always wanted to ask this since I am assuming that you're American.
Right.
Do you know what thongs are?
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard. What do
Yep.
you know about thongs?
Like the
Here we
underwear.
go.
Yeah, the underwear. It's not underwear, it's in Australia.
Oh.
It's like very different when Australians, like say they go to United States or something, and then they ask like where are the thongs, and then you get like accused of a lot of different things.
Accused of different things. That's not fair. I mean, if she took a little bit of a look left, she could tell basically everything she needs to know with the crowd in the background just giving away all the information, even though she doesn't seemingly need it. It's fairly pinpoint from all of her questions previously, but she's not wrong. I mean, at least people are generally going to be asking for pairs of thongs, which when I hear myself say that actually makes it sound more confusing, as though people want two, which then people going, why do you want two? But hey, it just is what it is. They're a similar shape, or at least part of it is, and there's nothing that's going to be changing that anytime soon. But if you are expecting this lady, this random woman from wherever she's from, I guess the last one will reveal all, so to say. And in a perfect world, the longer this game goes on, the easier it should be. Is it just getting more context, more time with these people, even just locking out the ones going, yeah, you're definitely Australian. But if you choose the wrong one, you're stuffed from the start. If you're just too locked in and going, okay, the person sitting across from me now is American, and then they're actually just still standing there, you've got no hope. Your brain's gonna just trick you.
Interesting.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, heard enough.
So ruthless, but yeah, it's true. She doesn't need to.
Yeah. I'm out.
Hi.
That was so American.
Hi again. I'm confident about you.
Interesting.
Interesting. So do you know which schools that year 7s go to?
What's year 7?
Yeah, that's also different. Do you say grade 7, 7th grade, or year 7?
Form.
Form.
Yeah, form.
In Australians, you say year and then something for the grades.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Do you know the time difference between Korea and Australia?
Between Korea and
It's not
Australia. I think it's like 2 hours or something.
Yeah, well, depending on which part of Australia you're actually comparing it to. But see, it's not fair. Like, she's directly trying to not give the answer. She's like, oh, what do you mean? Well, she knows. She has to know. There's no way she doesn't know. I really hope that she doesn't change her mind just because she's getting thrown around by these misleading answers to a degree.
Different between the summer in Australia and when it's not summer. The time difference is different.
Yeah, I heard like England, they do daylight savings. And
Yeah.
Europe does that too.
Yeah.
For summer. 'Cause
Doesn't Australia do that too?
I mean, you're the one telling me.
Come on.
Yeah,
Just
the
say
cotton
yeah.
candy. What do you call that in your country?
Candy floss.
Huh? Really?
Candy floss.
Oh,
What do
No.
you guys call it?
we call
That's
it fairy
not fair.
floss.
Oh, that's so cute.
Wait, you don't call
Surely.
it fairy floss?
What do you
No
think I'm
way.
from?
See, that's the thing. Like, she's not actually answering the question. She's deliberately manipulating it because she has enough worldwide knowledge of what people call different things to be able to go, okay, I'll pick fairy floss, candy floss, and everything else in between, and just pick and choose which ones I want to be using, because she clearly knows that she's just going down the path of no return. And I don't think it's even going to work because the accent just gives it away. But man, it's just so crazy that she's really trying this. But I feel like it's unfair. It's not in the spirit of the game, but whatever.
What do you call shrimps? Is it shrimps or prawns?
Depends on what you're eating. So sometimes we call them shrimp, sometimes we call them prawns.
Yeah, because my sister also lived in Australia with me. She says prawns and I say shrimps. Do you know what time of the year you go surfing in Australia?
I think people go surfing all year round.
All year round?
All year round.
Oh.
It depends.
If you like swimming in warm water, go in summer.
Yeah.
Would you like say
It's not really a wrong
the,
answer.
the food itself, the animal, the shrimp prawn thing is big? Would you call it a shrimp or a prawn?
I'm not a chef.
I don't think after primary school. What's the next level of school you go to?
Middle school?
Middle school?
Technically, I don't actually remember what we called it.
Hang on, you don't remember what you called it. Meanwhile, once again, look at the real Australian. She even mouths high school. She says it right there. So you can definitely tell. And just the audience gives all the answers you possibly need from in the corner of her eye. That's what you really need to be watching. But again, just the comparison of questions talking about when can you go swimming. And yeah, if you do want to be swimming in warmer water, go in maybe like, I think March is technically the warmest, but let's just say over summer and leading into autumn, where people do swim at all times of the year. I mean, even New Zealand swim in like 5 mil, 6 mil wetsuits. If you really want to go surfing and swimming, It's possible. People do it, but not for everyone.
Hi.
Come on, here
I
you
hear
go.
that
Come on, Sydney.
Australians and British, like England, they have a lot in common. So
Right.
is it snowy in Christmas?
Can be.
Oh, okay.
Can be snow and there can never be snow.
Oh, okay. Because
Yeah, because it's so cold that it's not snowing. It's like -40. All the moisture is just squeezed out of the air with 0% humidity or anything like that. It's just freezing, bitterly cold. That's why it's not snowing.
Australia. At least in Melbourne, it's summer in Australia. Can you try saying,
What do you mean?
would you like,
What? Hang
at
on.
least,
Because in Australia, at least in Melbourne, no, you can put a firm stance on that and say all of Australia has Christmas in summer. There's no need to be at least in Melbourne. The country isn't that big.
in Melbourne, it's summer in Australia. Can you try saying, would you like a cup of tea?
Would you like a cup of tea?
I want to listen to it again.
Would you like a cup of tea?
Oh, that was actually, even just the speed and the cadence of it, pretty Australian. So I wonder if is that where the Canadians also kind of have this British mix with the Irish and all these different accents coming together, that if you do maybe to even talk fast enough, then it just kind of all blends into one big accent.
She said cup of tea.
What's it gonna be? She
I
did
think
say
that's
that.
sort of
You
English.
asked her to.
Okay, so, do you know what you call jellies? What do you call them in your country?
Gummies.
Oh, we say that too. Oh yeah, what's the
I
biggest
guess.
holidays in your country?
Christmas.
Christmas?
Easter.
That's a little bit
I
generic though, at
thought
least.
number 2 was Australian. I think I asked her more specific questions. So I thought,
Yeah.
I think maybe that's why it's different. But I still think it's number 2. Okay, start
Sure.
on number 4 then again.
Oh, at least she didn't change her mind. That's what I was worried about. Just going, please don't have this lady that is trying to throw you off here because she's so pinpointed. But then I guess you were just going to start to overthink it. And so going from left to right, I think she said, oh, what did she say? I think she said American, Australian, Canadian, British, because there was an American-ish accent. Oh, I can't even remember. There's been so many things, but I would have to say British, Australian, American, Canadian. Surely. If I'm incorrect there, that's crazy.
Hi,
so there-
I
yeah,
actually
of course
don't
I have to
know
be finding the Canadian.
much about Canada. Never been.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
Well, what I know is that it's quite cold. They have 4 seasons.
yeah.
Yeah.
Maple
Well
syrup.
Okay. Great. What would
Yeah.
your favorite food be if you were from Canada?
Poutine.
Oh. Do you have a
So specific. I feel like not enough international people would know that. I mean, maybe in this crowd, people are going to have a little bit more world knowledge. I mean, they seem to be quite well traveled, like the lady, the Australian girl talking about just popping over and just going getting hot dogs. I mean, that's a little bit more generic, being the USA is so worldwide spread. But for poutine to be there, that's not something that many people would know of. I feel like, yeah, the other 3 might know of it, or heard of it, but to just pick it up off the spot and just say that's your favorite food, that gives you everything. If you know what you're looking for, I feel like that's what it is. Unless the others all say the same thing, then you're just stuffed. But otherwise, there you go. Hook, line, and sinker.
personal favorite?
Personal favorite would be smoked salmon.
Oh, that
It
salmon
would
was
be,
aggressive on the accent. Whoa,
Smoked salmon.
damn.
Oh, okay, that's good. So
I'm not making it easy for you, am I?
Hi.
Back again.
what do you call toilets in your country?
Toilet.
Toilet. Okay, that's really common for people.
I mean, what, the actual item, the object itself? Or she is coming from an Australian background, so she's not saying toilet as in the object. She's talking about toilet as in the room. So that's what I was thinking, restroom.
I'm gonna say Toronto.
Toronto.
Toronto. Yeah. But then how
There's no
she was like
way.
really being specific about the 2 places that make good poutines. I think it makes me think maybe she's from Canada.
Oh, see, so we must have had, so that's where we're missing some of the context. This video is decently long, but I reckon it could be much, much longer, as her is just trying to dissect everything she possibly can, which is cool in terms of she's actually trying. She's not just waving it off and going, oh, I guess I've heard this, and oh, whoops, I got it wrong. No, she seems like she's actually trying and using her ability, like I said, just previous knowledge of Australian and everything else to her advantage. But we didn't get to see the specifics of the 2 cities. And then even when this USA lady come up and she said Toronto, she didn't pronounce the second T. She just said Toronto. And that was something that seemingly to my ear gave it away.
How do you spell color?
COLOUR.
So that's not American.
See, it's
What
not
I know.
fair. They have enough knowledge to be able to just play games. It's ridiculous.
But I also know that that's how Australians spell it.
I wonder why.
Wait, are you from Australia?
Oh no. Oh, it's so unfair. Oh jeez. Oh, here we go. She's come back in the hot seat. Surely not. Surely after that performance, she can't come and try to be claimed to be Canadian or anything else, I guess. But it is interesting to see how they've all seemingly just chosen another country to be. Like, the Australian woman's trying to be American, meanwhile the American's trying to be Australian, and really just playing games. And I wonder if that's what she knew she was going to be in for, if she was just there to just ask questions and hopefully get truthful answers. But when you're just getting fed lies, it's impossible if you just can't hear it. And I guess that's what you just have to disregard all the context and disregard the answers to the questions, but just listen to the accent. But I guess if you don't know, you don't know. But just, I guess it's so hard just trying to pick certain bits out and disregard the rubbish.
Wait, are you from Canada then?
I don't know. You have to tell me.
Oh, that's
But
not
your
fair.
accent is so familiar.
But what if I was putting on the accent before?
Oh my god. But that would be cheating.
Yeah, see?
Is there another word for tumblers?
Just Tumblr. I don't
Really?
think we'd call it anything else. No.
No?
And
What
I
about the ones you put water in it?
Tumblr as well.
Tumblers. Oh.
Yeah, Tumblr's both because it's just the same shape. I don't think we changed the name because of like what's in it. So
Yeah. Okay, so do you have like a personal favorite food from Canada?
it's kind of boring, but poutine. I loved it. I had it in Toronto when I was there, and it was amazing. I was visiting.
Do you know
So
what Boxing Day is?
Oh, Boxing Day.
Yeah, that's the day after Christmas, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Surely. I don't think the USA has that. But does Canada have that because of its British roots? Perhaps, but I feel like in Canada, Boxing Day isn't the day after Christmas. I might be being misled by my own brain, but I don't know. I feel like that's a very nuanced thing to have to try and remember from her behalf, to go, okay, yeah, I know what Boxing Day is, but she knows what Boxing Day is from an Australian perspective. But then does she know what Boxing Day is from a Canadian perspective? Because if they're different, I don't know, I can't remember if they're different, but if they're different, then you'd be stuffed, because then she's giving an answer that you're expecting, but then you don't know what the answer is. Oh, it's so bad. And she just feels so lied to. She's going, oh, that would be cheating, but she honestly doesn't know if it's true or not.
The accents are so
Come on.
Maybe you're Canadian.
I don't know.
If you're Canadian, you've been to Canada, right? Obviously.
Perhaps.
Perhaps. Yeah, you could be Canadian. Is there like a special region in Canada for maple syrups?
Most of the people live near the border, like Toronto, Ontario region,
Yeah.
and then the rest of the country is very empty-ish.
Oh.
So
Okay.
it could be made in one of the emptier areas.
What would that be called?
Next question.
Next question. I mean, fair enough. You don't want to be just getting too specific, because that would just blow your cover.
You gave them such easy questions. Like, what food do you like? How do you spell color? You're like, what is the name of every street?
Let's see,
I
we
think
must
you
have
can
missed a few.
rule out 1 and 4. But you have the accent. You might not be Australian.
Oh no. After all of that, and yes, we are just getting just snippets of the entire conversation, but to hear her say, I'll stick with number 3, being that lady right there, I'd love to know the train of thought, because it has been all over the place, especially when we are not hearing all the questions, and then you're having the Australian play American and American play Australian. This poor woman. To a degree, it's fantastic that they're playing this game and really making it challenging and just trying to actually make the questions completely nullified, it seems, and just make the accent all there. But it's going to be interesting when they finally reveal it and she goes, oh, wait, hang on, you said this and you're that. What? How was that ever going to be working? Here we go, finally
How did
revealing
you
time.
know I was American?
Is she American?
I can tell.
I was really
All of a sudden she's speaking loudly. That's not fair at all. I feel like I haven't been able to hear this lady at all the entire video, and then it was all over the place. I don't know if it was on purpose or if it was my ear, and then maybe I was getting misled by the other woman, but I swear, I don't know, but clearly I was wrong. This lady is You're from the USA. That's crazy.
Confident about not Australia, but about because I live an hour from Canada.
Oh, really?
In New York,
Right.
by Ontario. So really confident about
She
Canada. But when I
lives in
sat
New
down,
York.
The questions.
Is that what I said? Is that the person I said? Eastern? No, I said it about the other woman. How is she from the UK? Unless she's having Scottish and Irish and everything else mixed in there. I'm so confused. She was just throwing me the whole video because there was plenty of times where it was like, okay, I feel like I'm hearing some USA in there, and then she would say something else, and I'm like, what? That's I'm not hearing anything. So wow, she either played it well or she needs a volume boost.
She had the American accent, and when she was like trying to tell the differences between the United States and Canada, I can tell that she was talking more about the States than Canada.
trying to cover it up. Kind of
Yeah.
Fair enough. Oh, it's so obvious now. It's crazy.
You're Australian, right?
Yeah.
Luckily.
I liked you for all of the projects.
Yeah.
We call it Fairy Plus, I call it 7th grade. Like, I was just like,
Yeah, it's not fair. Like she has hand on heart just because she would have had a heart attack if it wasn't the right answer. It goes going, oh, after all of that, even with you lying to me, there's no way that she could just pull that off. But she was just in two minds about it. Man, it was unfair.
where are you from? It's just literally, I'm sorry, I'm so
Where does Australia from?
Brisbane.
Brisbane. Okay. One of the things that I also can't do, I can't do no.
Even putting on the American accent, like I can kind of do it, but it's not.
Yeah,
it's still
just
there.
the thing. It's like
yeah.
here.
Yeah,
you
it is
can't
literally
really,
made
yeah, here you can't.
So weird. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Thank you.
UK.
Hi.
So I think you're Canadian.
You are wrong.
Interesting.
So
Interesting.
unbelievably wrong. I've never been to Canada in my life.
Really? So you're Canadian? Oh, so where are you
Got her.
from?
I'm from England.
She sounds different there though. What?
Oh, so where are you from?
I'm from England.
She sounds. This is ridiculous. There's a difference between lying on answers and even just putting on accents. My goodness. Listening to it again, she just says Leicester and it just gets rebirthed out of her in a way that I swear that accent just wasn't there before. I feel like I just want to go back and just hear this woman speak. Surely there was no way she was sounding like this before.
I guess. I think.
Oh, see, this is just not what she sounds like later.
It's colder in the north, warmer in the south.
I mean, there's bits of it because it's a put-on accent, but that does not sound like what she sounded like later. That is ridiculous. There's no
I'm from
way.
England.
Look, it's completely different. So no wonder I was
Where are
thrown.
you from?
I'm from England.
Oh, especially when we can't hear the other one.
Leicester.
I'm sorry,
Completely
I
different.
don't know much about this.
If you know football, then we did win the Premier League once. So
Once,
when
wow.
I get asked where I'm from these days and I say Leicester, people do know more where I'm from.
Right.
But yeah, I was being really mean, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The way you said like E,
Ah,
I thought it was like something I haven't really heard before. So I thought, okay, that's Canadian.
I was gonna say the only place that
Yeah.
doesn't spell like that's America.
Yeah.
hello.
Hi. You're
Go.
Canadian.
Yes, I'm the Canadian.
What's
Not
the Canadian
fair.
accent like?
Canada is really big,
Yeah.
right? So from west to east, everyone has sort of a different mishmash of accents.
Oh.
So for me, my upbringing has more British
you
in
go.
it, so I can do a bit more of a British accent if I need to. So it's not as hard for me.
Crazy.
So you
Yeah.
sound like British.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She does.
They were all just playing with it the whole time when I can understand tampering with the answers to the questions, but to be tampering with the accents and the questions, that's ruthless. I mean, we were all thrown off, and maybe in person you can deal with it a little bit better if you're just picking up on different things and then with all the questions that were cut out as well. But at least we know that I knew that Sydney was Canadian, and then the Australian girl was never going to get past it. There's no way she can be talking about form and get past that. Either way, the other two mixed in with her, they were all just ruthless game players. Man, putting on British and American and Australian and Canadian and playing with E's and R's and A's and O's and everything else in between. Oh, that's so unfair. It wasn't a game of match the accent. It was a game of who was the most devious.
Because she put it on. I put it on.
Yeah.
And
Different.
we also have America. So we actually will say, we'll write color with the U, but we'll also use it without the U. Depends on what you're doing.
Oh.
So it's a bit more complicated. Is it? Yeah. I even write it, like when I'm writing.
Like A?
Yeah, EH.
Wow.
And I'm like, that was so cool, eh? It's not just like to emphasize me being Canadian or anything. So a lot of people will say, yeah, right?
Yeah.
I know, right? I will say, I know, eh? Physically trying to say just right instead of a.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Actually just playing the game so well, just using all the tactics to your advantage, I guess. And not that there was really anything on the line. I mean, the world is a lot smaller with modern technology, so you really are exposed to so many different elements. So with all of that, she really had no hope to get all 4 from 4. Now, knowing what we know, I mean, the Australian just stood out like a sore thumb, at least to me it did. So I would love to know, how did everyone else go? Did they get the American? Did they get the British? Because those two were crazy. Was the Australian impossible, how we were shown it? Or was Sydney the Canadian, which is also the difficult one as well, being a little bit of a British accent in there as well. Everyone, I'm sure, just picked up on different things, but hey, that's what the entire point is. And it was fun to play along to a degree, but man, was it also so frustrating when we could see that they were clearly lying